Hey guys, welcome back to another update on Lost in the Wildwoods. Over the past couple of weeks it has been more of a one step forward and three steps back sort of thing going on, because I managed to break the entire game twice. I have no idea what I did, but it suddenly went from using like 2 gigs of RAM in the editor to like 15. And same with built games too, so it completely foobarred itself. And the only solution was to just drop everything into a new project, and then I broke that one too. So as far as I can tell, it had something to do with my foliage system, and the solution was building new grass objects, because Unreal Engine likes a smaller number of larger, more complex objects than a large number of small, simple objects. So I went from having 1,000,000 16 polygon grass objects to about 100,000 200 polygon grass objects, and now everything runs real smooth and real nice. But as a consequence, I also had to completely rebuild my foliage around, but I've made it better, because it turned out that everything looked kind of funny because all of my trees were really tiny. So I've made them all really big. You can see out the window the new grass. Looks really nice and moves really nice, so I'll show that to you. I've also gone in and changed some of my field of view stuff, so now I use my scroll wheel to go in and out of first person, kind of like Skyrim. Everything in here is the same, but if we walk out here and grab the ball, you can see the nice, like, lush landscape, and just bigger trees in general. It feels more real. So if I hop out here and just look around the character, you can see that my bushes are a little on the stretchy side. I gotta fix that. But everything else just sort of looks more, I don't know, it's more lush and better. This grass also is sort of I spent a lot of time fixing it, because as you can see, it now moves out of the way whenever you walk over it. And I was able to apply that to some of these other assets that weren't originally designed for it, but, so they stretch out a little bit, but I think it looks fine. I did follow a tutorial on how to do this, although ironically this grass object I had made before I'd found that tutorial, and it looks exactly the same as what they made, so that's great! Added a little bit of color variation to it as well, so it's not quite so samey. So I'll pick this thing up and go out here. So if I just run out here and kind of take a look at what's going on, you can see my low poly trees in the distance. That'll fade into the bigger stuff. That system works as good, if not better now, because I've been just slowly tweaking things whenever I'm bored. But if we hop up over this hill, the bushes don't react to me, because I kind of clown vomited the screen whenever I tried to do that, and it wasn't fun. And we can sort of see that just general landscape stuff has changed. I've also added some new features. So if I set the ball down here, if you ever get sort of lost, we now have a map view that has some limited movement, but it allows you to look around the world from a larger third-person perspective and see your little self down there. You can still move around in this view, but I've limited the view so that you can't, like, look at absolutely everything. And I've also added couch co-op. So if I had a controller plugged in right now, you would see... Well, let me just go and plug in a controller. And turn it back to daytime, because all of my dev buttons are still in. You can look up at my nice night sky and weird black horizon that I still gotta fix. But yeah, let's put it back to daytime. We've got a, well, that's slightly broken. I imagine that's an issue with, going into a new project, is there's a specific setting that I don't have set that's prefer... Basically, you can set it to, prefer the controller onto the other thing instead of, always having it locked on. That's no big deal, but just trust me, take my word for it, I've tested this in different versions. That character over there is fully controllable, but as a consequence of the foliage squishing thing, it won't attach to me properly or them properly, and they would see my weird particle system because I can only make it invisible to its owner. Yeah, there's probably a way to make it invisible to them, but I haven't found it yet. So let me just delete them. And we can go into the final thing that I've changed, which is a gameplay dynamic for the second level, which I'm not going to go into that one because we've all seen it. It looks pretty much exactly the same. I've just rebuilt the foliage on it. It's no big deal, but if I hit the rain button, we have rain. And that obnoxious sound in the background is my lightning bolts are force feedback enabled, so the controller is vibrating like holy shit whenever those go. But yeah, the lightning is basically just an obnoxiously bright texture. And a equally obnoxiously bright point light to illuminate the area. And they're set to strike within a certain distance of me specifically to give the impression that, hey, this lightning's kind of aimed at me. Maybe I should run. Because, well, technically the lightning is aimed at you. And I sort of half-assed made it, and it ended up looking really nice. So I'm just probably going to keep it. Like, that lightning is just some noise textures, and they've been subtracted from each other, and you can kind of see in this view that it's just set to always face you, and I just did some basic, math to make it face you. It's not even like it's a special setting or anything. But the bloom ended up looking really nice on it, making it look more 3D. And it's just in general, the lightning looks really nice, and I need to put some like obnoxious sounds with it. And if I hit it again, it sort of fades out. We can see that we have like the fog going on. I don't know if you could see it, but if I put it back, we do have a rain particle system attached to me, which I need to increase the density of. But that's basically, apart from rebuilding everything, that's pretty much what I've got done. And everything's looking really nice. So I guess I'll just, oh, it's still broken. Well, I guess I'll just go and fix those things and give another update whenever more stuff is done.